Let's get started, shall we? Today we'll be looking at the explosion at the Ubuyashiki mansion, the explosion and the makibishi found inside. Was Tengen-san behind this? Did he put someone up to it? Maybe he didn't get his hands dirty like Gyotaro and Daki said. There's no way there was a shinobi. Shinobis are a rare kind. It's hard to imagine that there was another shinobi in the demonslayer corps other than Tengen-san. And even if there was, you'd still go to Tengen-san with this. You see, there was a lot at stake here for Oyakata-sama. She was putting an end to everything, so to speak. There could be no mistakes. Having said that, he would most likely ask the person he trusted the most. Tengen-san knew more about explosives than anyone, so it's not hard to imagine that he went to him. And Oyakata-sama, after Tengen-san lost his arm and retired, he was always worried about him. Maybe that's why he decided to put him in charge of this. Maybe he did this out of kindness, but since he lost one of his arms, he would need help making explosives. I think his 3 wives helped him out with that during the day they cooked for him, and at night they made explosives. Pretty crazy if you ask me, but Tengen-san and his 3 wives, when they were making these explosives, did they know that it would lead to Oyakata-sama and his family's death? Here's what Oyakata-sama had to say about this. "Gyomei-san, you're the only one who understands why I have to do this." In other words, Tengen-san might not understand. Making explosives to kill Oyakata-sama. Could he really go through with that? I doubt it. It's just too much to handle. Having said that, I don't think he told Tengen-san what he'd use the explosives for when he ordered him to make them. Maybe he told him it was for killing demons. Then Tengen-san wouldn't have to think twice about it. But then, what if Tengen-san figures it all out? It's possible. If he had to set the explosives himself, he would have realized what was going on. He'd connect the dots and figure out what Oyakata-sama was planning to do. And even if someone else set the explosives, he can still catch on and figure everything out. If the request was to make it so that it can be hidden somewhere in the mansion, are they planning to do it somewhere inside the demonslayer corps? If it's powerful enough to cause massive destruction, we have to make sure there are no civilians around. That means they're planning to set the bomb somewhere inside the demonslayer corps. There are countless ways in which he can find out. In the original anime, it is revealed that Tengen-san regrets retiring and he can't sleep at night because of it. But if I'm right about this, this takes on a whole new meaning. The explosive I made is going to kill Oyakata-sama. I should have never retired. If I hadn't, none of this would have happened. I should have fought to the death alongside Oyakata-sama. Maybe that's why he couldn't sleep at night. But whether Tengen-san knew about this or not, Tengen Uzui and Kagaya Ubuyashiki, these two have a lot in common. First, they were both destined to fight, and they both lost their siblings. Tengen's father killed those who didn't meet his expectations, and Oyakata-sama's siblings lost their lives at age 13 due to a curse. That's the first example. Next, they were both married, which is kinda rare in the demonslayer corps. Tengen retired with his wives and decided to live. Oyakata-sama, on the other hand, decided to fight to the death with his wife. Whether he knew that Oyakata-sama was going to die or not, the explosives made by a family who chose life over death ends up killing another family and their kids? It's pretty messed up if you think about it. Demon Slayer is a pretty dark and intense story, that's for sure. Now the next question is, who set off the bomb? Oyakata-sama? Amane-san? The 2 kids? Or was it someone outside the Ubuyashiki family? If winning was their priority, it was most likely the kids. Why? 'Cause Muzan would never see that coming, so they let the kids set it off. It's very possible, but there's one thing to consider. The explosion occurred after they finished talking, which feels a bit odd. Did they really hear Oyakata-sama and Muzan talking? And you heard them singing, and the bomb went off at the perfect timing. So maybe it wasn't the kids, since they were far away when it happened. And the kids, he never wanted them to be a part of this fight. It was their choice to participate. This happened at the last minute, so maybe it was someone else that detonated the bomb. That leaves Oyakata-san and Amane-san. But Oyakata-san was under strict surveillance, and he was very sick, so there were so many things that could go wrong. In other words, I don't think it was him. But then that just leaves Amane-san. If it was her, that's even more messed up. Tengen-san's wife told him to live. She kept telling him not to give up on life, but they made the explosives and Amane-san set it off and it killed her husband. Wow! Another thing to remember, Suma, Hina, Makio, they loved Tengen very much. Similarly, Amane-san loved her husband from the bottom of her heart. But her husband's death was inevitable. It was the only choice she had left. The Uzui family and the Ubuyashiki family, they were both destined to fight to the death. Maybe Oyakata-sama wanted to do something about that. Maybe he wanted to set Tengen free from this destiny. Tengen once said, "I'm retiring. I'm sure Oyakata-sama would approve." Perhaps Oyakata-sama was relieved when he heard he was retiring. Maybe Oyakata-sama was saying to himself, he might have been born into a family destined for combat, but that doesn't mean he can't live a peaceful life. I know what it's like. I just want him to be happy. I don't want him to follow in my footsteps. He deserves better. Maybe that's why he did all of this. Now, moving on to this scene here. The question here is, did Amane set off the explosives? But if you look carefully, there weren't any explosives or fuses around them, and it looked like the explosion came from under the floor. Now remember, Tengen-san had others he worked with aside from his wives, the muscular mice. And where do mice live? Under the floor. Dragons, tigers, snakes, these are all animals from the Japanese zodiac. But cats, they have nothing to do with the zodiac signs. And Muzan, they say he has eyes like a cat. Why didn't cats make it on the list and become a zodiac sign? Some say that the mouse tricked the cat by telling him the wrong date, so when God gathered all the animals, the cat wasn't there. As a result, he didn't make the list. The mouse framed the cat. Maybe that's what happened here. Maybe it was the muscular mice. They're the ones that detonated the explosives under the floor. This is just speculation, but maybe they were planning to light the fuse on fire and run away to safety before it was too late. But like Oyakata-sama said, Muzan listened to him more than he thought, so he went on and on, spilling his heart out to him. And when the muscular mice heard this, maybe they changed their minds. Let's let him finish. So instead of lighting the fuse, they decided to light the explosives directly. That's why it went off at the perfect time. In order to set off the bomb at that moment, whoever did it, they had to have been close enough to hear them talk. Muzan made sure there was nobody else there other than Oyakata-sama and Amane-san. But did he check under the floor for mice? He probably didn't see them as a threat, but if they were the ones behind it, they got him good. The muscular mice, they decided to give their lives for Oyakata-sama. I guess we'll never really know for sure what happened, but we never saw the muscular mice again after that, so in the fan book they talk about the crow that made it out alive, but there was nothing about the mice, so either way, we still have a lot of unanswered questions. But the fact is, they were small enough to hide under the floor. Muzan didn't see them as a threat, and they had a long history with Tengen, so maybe it really was them. The mice dying in the explosion? There's no way Tengen-san could have predicted that, but even if this was true, it's still very likely that he knew what would happen to Oyakata-sama. Maybe that's why he couldn't talk to his wives about it and couldn't sleep at night. I guess we'll never know, but the hero and the mice working together to take out the cat, it was an interesting thought to entertain. Also, this wasn't the first time the Ubuyashiki mansion went up in flames. This was revealed in the art collection. Oyakata-sama had 2 younger brothers, but the older brother, devastated by the curse, he set fire to the mansion and took the younger brother's life. Siblings killing each other. This is another thing that the Ubuyashiki family and Uzui family have in common. And Tengen and Kagaya, they were both there when it happened. They've both been through a lot. So maybe that's why Oyakata-sama wanted a better life for Tengen-san. I sincerely hope things work out for Tengen and everyone else who made it out alive, 'cause that's what Oyakata-sama would have wanted. That's all for now. For more Demon Slayer theories, please like and subscribe for more videos. See you soon.